All right, at this time, I'd like to have the candidates for Superior Court Judge number 2 come up. All right, at this point, I'd like to start with the opening statements from each candidate. You have 30 seconds, and we'll start with Frances Henderson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Frances Henderson. I've worked for the Family Court Services Division of the Superior Court for the last 18 years. I've been a lawyer for 30. I come with a background of general civil, family, juvenile, and probate law. Mostly, I'm very excited about the opportunity to represent the people of San Benito County. I've worked with families for 18 years. I've met families from all of our communities, and I love our communities. We are a wonderful place to live. They're a wonderful group of people, and I want to be your judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Frances. The next candidate will be Robert Foley.
My name is Judge Robert M. Foley. My opening statement is very different tonight than it would have been before Tuesday. Bedrock principle. I strongly believe that judicial vacancies in San Benito County should be filled by election and not by appointment. But voters of this county are surely as capable of evaluating and electing a judicial officer as any governor. On Tuesday, I received some disturbing news that puts in serious doubt my ability, if elected, to serve the entire 6-year term. If I fail in this, the office becomes vacant and will be filled by a gubernatorial appointment. This is an outcome I cannot accept. I've been a Superior Court judge for over 30 years. I know what to do, and by most accounts, I do it well.
Thank you, Robert. Sorry. Next candidate, Gregory LaForge.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Farm Bureau and Benito Lane for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Greg LaForge. I've been an attorney for over 29 years. I started my career at the DA's office. I worked my way up to Chief Deputy DA. I've handled some of the most high-profile, prolific homicide, rape, robbery, 3 strikes cases in this county. I'm now a criminal defense attorney, for which I've been for 17 years. And I do have experience in civil law. I've done adoption, divorce, contempt, guardianship, dependencies, personal injury, and general unlimited civil cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. At this time, we'll start with first round of questions. If elected, what are your goals for the office? And we will start with Frances Henderson.
If I'm elected to Superior Court judge, the most important goal that I have for the office is to continue the tradition of protecting families' individual rights, the Constitution, and seeing that an equitable result is reached following the evidence. My specialty is family law, so I have focused for the last 18 years on what's in the best interest of the children, whether they come to the court through family, juvenile, probate, or dependency or delinquency. So my goals that I've outlined in my own aspiration to date have been to keep the family law program strong, to keep access to the courts available to every individual. As the family law facilitator, I got to ride the crest of this new wave of opening the courts so that people who aren't represented by attorneys can have access to the court. This is important to me, and I want to make sure that on the state level we continue to make sure that funding comes through for self-help and for family law facilitators' offices. When I was the Family Court Services Director in 2006 and 2007, I had the opportunity to be elected as the president of the Family Court Services Directors Association, which are mental health officials throughout the state. I got to work on the state level with incredibly interesting and talented people, showing us how we can work with the legislature to affect better rules for the courts, for the families in our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Frances. Gregory?
Yes, thank you. Being in court every day in this county, I think it's important to streamline the system in both civil and criminal courts, and that's something that I would strive to go for. I would also fairness to all litigants that come before me. Honesty, integrity, I think that's all important for all of the candidates and for all of the litigants that are going to appear before you. And those are just a few of the things I would do. I wouldn't change much, but I would streamline the system. balance the court calendars a little better, I think, after seeing it for as long as I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. Robert?
Yes, I would like to continue my reputation as being effective, efficient, and fair.
Thank you. So we will move on to question 2. Same question for all 3 candidates. What problems do you see the San Benito County Superior Court having, and what are your plans to address them? And we will start with Francis.
Well, the biggest problem is budget. Having worked for the court for 18 years, we've gone through a transition with state funding that's problematic at best. They've implemented a new funding system on the state level, which has affected different courts in different manners. In the old days, we had our own separate budget for San Benito County, and we were very frugal in how we managed that. And unfortunately, state law changed the situation a few years ago so that that budget was swept into a statewide coffer. We now have issues where the funding system is based on a new allocation, which is difficult to understand and difficult to interpret. Luckily, in San Benito County, we have a strong administration at our court. Our court executive officer, Gil Solorio, is very adept at these issues and also has had state involvement with putting San Benito County in as good a position as we can be financially. The challenge, that's the biggest challenge. Other challenges are, as Mr. LaForge pointed out, the calendar could be streamlined. There are, people have to wait too long sometimes to appear in certain cases. The judges have to work pretty hard on our criminal calendars. It can be a little bit unmanageable. I would work with the other Superior Court judge, Judge Sanders, in the hopes that together we might be able to address each of these issues and work closely with the administrative office too. Thank you.
Thanks, Francis. Gregory?
Yeah, I see the major problem in this county is just the bursting calendars, both of them. I mean, it's just, you're seeing it with all the houses going up. Guess what? There's a lot of crime, a lot of civils, a lot of divorces. The calendars we're only a 2-judge county. According to state regulations, we should be at least a 3-judge, 3.5-judge county. Now, we do have a woman that does do the child support calendar. And so that helps that particular calendar. But Judge Sanders and Tobias are doing the best they can, and we need more judges. That's what I see as the major problem in this county. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Thank you, Greg. Robert?
I could not agree more with Mr. LaForge. But here's what's going to happen. We see all these houses going up. The population is going to increase dramatically. But San Benito County is sort of in what I call the backwater. As the legislature creates new judicial positions, they're not going to be here. They're going to LA County, they're going to San Bernardino County, they're going to Riverside. So we're going to have to make do with what we have. 2 judges. Those judges are going to have to work very, very hard. They're going to have to collaborate with one another in an attempt to streamline the calendars and get the maximum efficiency out of each of the calendars.
Thank you. Last question. Superior Court Judge number 2 historically hears cases related to civil matters. How has your background prepared you to oversee civil disputes? And we'll start with you, Gregory.
Yes, thank you. As I stated, my experience in civil law, I've done divorce, contempt, adoption, guardianships, dependencies, personal injury, unlimited civil cases, albeit most of my background is in criminal law, being on both sides of the table as a DA or a defense attorney. However, I have pretty much run the gamut as well in civil court, and I'm prepared to take those responsibilities on. I've talked to Judge Sanders briefly about some issues that if I get elected, how it would work with criminal versus civil. Obviously, I would have what's called a conflict of interest in criminal court for at least the first couple years. But then it can switch. So it's primarily, right now, civil. Yes, that's true. But that can change. Judges go on vacation. Bring in a visiting judge. They might only want to do civil. So then you, me, or any of the candidates that win would go to the criminal and do that as well. So it would be civil at the beginning, but it wouldn't end up being civil. And it's a 6-year term, so anything can happen in those 6 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. Next candidate, Francis?
I have,
These are individual questions, sorry.
thank you.
No, this one's for you.
I wasn't able to comment on that last general question.
I think it was a personal question. Was the last question directed only at?
The last question for Greg was just directed towards Gregory.
Okay.
The next question will be for Francis. You say your experience helps you understand the needs of families and citizens of San Benito County. Explain why that is an important quality for a judge.
Sure. I think people often forget what an important part of the court family law is. Family law cuts across all socioeconomic borders, all class borders, all race borders. People come to court in family court because they're having problems at home. They can't get along with their spouse. They can't get along with the person they raised a child with. They have to pay child support. They may be bankers, lawyers. They may be agricultural workers. They may have very little money. They may have a lot of money. We don't know when family law is going to strike and you're going to show up in family court. I think that a judge needs to appreciate the experience that these people are going through and have a heart and a mind that focuses on the fact that they're in the most dysfunctional stage of their life. And as the bench officer making decisions about those people, you have to continue to hold that respect and care for their position, their problems, what's best for their family, and most of all, what's best for their children. There's no one there except the judge to decide what's best for these children. The parents can't see the forest through the trees frequently. Of course, they think they're acting in their child's best interest because they can't see that it could be otherwise. I think that the experience I spoke about earlier, working on the state level with the California Directors Association, was invaluable in teaching me what these families need and what we need for children in San Benito County. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. For you, Robert, why would you come out of retirement for this position?
Because I want to serve the people of San Benito County. They're my friends and neighbors. Right now, I'm assigned permanently in San Francisco. Last year, I did 5 long cause homicide cases. This year, they put me in charge of the domestic violence calendar. But I don't live in San Francisco. I should be serving the people of San Benito County, not the people of San Francisco County. And I do have this drive to serve. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I love the job, and I love serving the people. And one thing I found in San Benito County, we're smaller. So individuals can get to actually know the judges that serve them. You won't find that in San Francisco. You won't find that in Los Angeles for sure. I've heard it said in Los Angeles that if you're a judge there for 30 years, there's a good possibility you will never meet all of your colleagues.
Thank you very much, Robert. And with that, we'll start the closing statements. 1 minute. We'll start with you, Robert.
Okay, I just wanted to finish off where I started. On Tuesday, I received some disturbing information that puts in serious doubt my ability, if elected, to serve the entire 6-year term. If I fail in this, the office becomes vacant and will be filled by gubernatorial appointment. This is an outcome I cannot accept. I've been a Superior Court judge for over 30 years. I know what to do, and by both accounts, I do well. My inability, however, to guarantee I am able to serve out the full term of office leads me to one conclusion only. I must withdraw from this elective contest. It's a difficult choice, but I'm convinced it is a correct choice. There are 3 other candidates who seek election to this office. Whoever prevails, I wish them all success and Godspeed.
Thank you, Robert. Gregory?
Okay, for my closing, I think endorsements are important, and my endorsements, I've been endorsed by the San Benito County Deputy Sheriff's Association. I've been endorsed by the Hollister Firefighters Union, and my biggest endorsement is from the California Statewide Law Enforcement Association out of Sacramento, which represents over 7,000 peace officers in the state that endorse me for my candidacy for judge. Also, I've been appointed by the Hollister City Council about 9-10 years ago to be an administrative hearing officer. I think that's important because that was something to do with code enforcement and things of that nature. Also, I think it's important to know I'm uniquely qualified in this because I'm the only candidate that not only lives in this county, but works in this county as well. Thank you. And I appreciate your vote. And when you go to the polls, it'd be an honor to have each and every one of you vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. Francis?
All right, I had to go first, I get to go last. I guess that's a trade-off. So, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I was born in San Jose, and I grew up in Southern California, attended high school in San Marino. I went to school at UC Santa Cruz, and then I moved to San Francisco to go to law school. In fact, Mr. LaForge and I just discovered we went to the same law school and graduated the same year. So I then went to work in San Jose as a young lawyer in a general civil firm where I had civil, probate, and criminal practice. After working in San Jose for a few years, I worked for the city of Santa Cruz, the firm Atchison and Anderson that did municipal defense, so I had civil experience at that time. I then had my own law practice in Watsonville for about 10 years, doing, again, general civil, and I eventually settled on family law. Now, I've been at the courthouse for 18 years, and I love my job. The only thing I can think I would love more would be being judge of the Superior Court. And I thank you, and it would be an honor if you would vote for me as the first woman elected in San Benito County to the Superior Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.